Okie dokie. So welcome to the Elevated Woman Masterclass series. My name is Anya Grace, and for a lot of you, this may be the first time that you have done a training with me, and I want to just say welcome, and I'm so excited to have you here. It's been an amazing couple of years with all the women that have joined this Elevated Woman space, and we've gone through a lot of deep transformation together. So if this is your first time seeing me, welcome, and I'm really, really excited about this whole masterclass series. I'll tell you a little bit about it, as well as what we will be doing today. So if you want to you don't have to, but it's fun sometimes to add your perspective or thoughts or questions in the chat box. So if you want to just let me know who's here, maybe where you're from in the world, I'd love to see who we have. All right, so I'm in San Diego, and I just put on this masterclass series with some of my really close friends, as well as a lot of my mentors as well. Allison Armstrong is on this series. One of my best friends, Helena Hart, is on this series. A lot of you know her. And this is the first masterclass of that series, and I'm doing it live because I can, and it's really fun. That's my favorite way to teach. So in this class, I really just want to go over what this master class is all about, how to get the most from it. We'll set intention together, and I'm also going to help you awaken the elevated woman archetype in your life. So we'll talk about who she is, what she means, and what she stands for, and why she's relevant to you. And then toward the end of this master class, we'll go through an interactive exercise to help you actually awaken your divine feminine energy. And if you've never heard of the term Shakti, Shakti is the divine feminine force. It's the creative sexual potential that exists within every single woman, every single human, every single plant, everything that's alive, everything that is actually physical on this planet is holding Shakti at different frequencies and vibrations. So a woman full of her Shakti force is radiant, vibrant, beautiful, extremely magnetic. It's the woman that walks into a room and heads turn. She's just so powerful. So we're going to be awakening that force within. So I'm seeing everybody hop on here. It's really awesome. Hello from Dubai, the Bahamas, St. Simone's Island, wow. Portland, Oregon, I have a lot of friends there, I love that. Vancouver, Canada, New Hampshire, Toronto, South Dakota, Chicago, and Canada. Wow, I love this. So there's a lot more people, so if you guys wanna let us know where you're from, that would be so fun. You don't have to, but it can be fun. Okay, so throughout this process, we might have a little bit of time at the end to go through question and answer. I'm going to keep this to an hour or less, but that's the intention. And so maybe at the end, if there's time, I will open it up for question and answer. You guys can ask me any questions around love and relationship, around healing trauma, around feminine energy. So yeah, but thank you so much for showing up and being here. And I'm so excited to get to know everyone and to have you be a part of this community, because it's been so powerful what we've done over the last couple of years. All right, let me just take a moment. All right, so many of you read the email that I sent out just a couple emails ago about entering into this training from the perspective of not actually needing to improve anything about yourself or fix anything about yourself. And a lot of the women that come to me, one of the strongest patterns that I see in these women is the belief and really this sort of unconscious addiction to self-improvement. And I was that woman for a very long time. So I'll just tell you a little bit about my history. I grew up in Northern California, and I went to school at UC Santa Cruz. I studied neuroscience. But the first really early on part of my life, I had this belief that I wasn't beautiful. I didn't like my face. And so but I always had a very strong athletic body. And so very early on, I developed this relationship with my body where I decided that in order to make up for my face, I needed to perfect my body. And I also needed to perfect basically every other thing. in my life. And I also had some really deep sexual trauma that I'm not going to talk about today, but it was another factor in me deciding that because I had these flaws, I needed to make up for them in other ways. So my body was probably the strongest, most intense way I tried to do that. I was at the gym all the time. I definitely developed a bit of a binge eating disorder, but more so it was just my mindset, you know, like literally I would say 70 to 80% of my thoughts on a daily basis were around my body, the food that I was about to eat, when I was going to exercise, and if I didn't have control over those things, I was an emotional wreck in a really unhealthy way. So along with the control of my body, I also decided that by pursuing neuroscience and getting this really high level degree, and I learned to play the guitar, I was a perfectionist in every area of my life. But it was really being driven by this belief that I wasn't good enough the way I was, and I needed to make up for it. And I know a lot of women resonate with this, but I want to take it to another, like a deeper level, because essentially what I realized is for as long as I was entering into these things that were actually healthy for me, you know, exercise with the intention of improving myself, or it would go so far as like I would lay out in the sun to get tan, thinking that that was going to make me more beautiful and that was going to improve me in some way, and therefore I would really love that activity, but it was coming from this place of really a masculine mindset of an outcome. So anyway, I'm just like sharing a little bit of my personal story of this really intense mindset that has a lot of women, what I'd like to say, in a submissive space. So there's a difference between submission and surrender. I'm actually doing a whole training on this in a few weeks, so you'll hear more about that later, but there's a difference between submission and surrender spiritually and sexually. And it's one of the things I talk a lot about. But one of the signs that a woman is in submission, which basically means she's plugged in to this toxic masculine paradigm that keeps her Shakti Force, which we talked about a little earlier, which keeps her Shakti Force drained, is the belief that she needs to improve herself. So I just want you to notice in your life right now, just put your hand over your heart perhaps and take a deep breath in. Perhaps what activities in your life that you partake in with the intention of improving yourself or for an outcome. And I will say, when we get to, we're just literally touching the surface on this today, and we're going to get so deep into it in the training in a few weeks. But when you really get to the deeper levels, it can feel like your entire life is kind of crumbling from beneath you when you realize that this outcome-based, perfection-based, improvement-based mindset that so many of us hold is actually working against our greatest power as women, which is to recognize that our worth and our value is inherent. And it actually stems from our energy and our presence. It's the way a man feels on a date when he's sitting in front of you and you're just sitting there, maybe not even saying anything, but it's just the energy that's literally emanating off your body. It's the beauty of your voice. It's the beauty of your face and your smile and your laugh. That's the core of your value as a woman. It's the inherent energy that you hold. So the elevated woman is an archetype that has birthed through this work that I'm sharing with the world. And I'd like to say she's an activator and an initiator for a higher potential on the planet. And what that means is that she has unplugged from the toxic masculine paradigm and really found a truth that is in alignment with her highest feminine potential. So she knows that her value stems from so much more than her external looks, her beauty, her external success in career and financial, even the relationships that she has in her life. she knows that her value is inherent. It's actually the energy of the goddess, Shakti Force. So she's so rooted in that self-worth that she's ultimately untouchable by any force that cannot meet her at that high level. So automatically, you know, relationship, when a woman steps into her elevated woman archetype and this essence within, relationships that do not honor the goddess, which is her, in her life, fall away. And you go through this whole reorganization process when you step into this full embodiment of your value. I'm just gonna slow down for a moment. When you realize that everything that you desire truly does stem from this understanding of who you really are. And in this community, an elevated woman, one of the things I deeply stand for is for women to understand that who they are is the divine. We really are this divine energy, this creative energy. Every single thing that we see around us is energy, and it's just either contracted really hard, if it's like a table or a floor or the walls, there's a contraction of that energy, or there's more movement, like this, the life force that flows through my body and flows through your body. There's more spaciousness, there's more movement within that energy. So, but every single thing we see around us is energy. And when we recognize that the energy within this table is ultimately the same energy within myself, it's divinity, this divine impulse of creative power. That's who we are as individuals in this world. And when we can pull ourselves away from the ego identity of I am a yoga teacher, I am a mother, I am a, I am, this is my career, or I am, we can be amazing things, like being a mother and being, being a CEO, being a yoga teacher, those are just the examples that came to my mind, are all amazing things, but it's not who we really are. So until we truly on a daily basis remind ourselves of who we are, it can be much easier for our Shakti force to be drained, because Shakti arises from this awareness of the truth, of this infinite potential that we all hold. So I do go a little metaphysical, and I definitely speak in a bit of a spiritual way. You'll see in the masterclass series, anyway, not everybody goes there with me, but that's definitely something I bring. Because another thing that the elevated woman desires is to really be seen beyond her physical beauty and for her deeper spiritual wisdom and these gifts of her heart. So when you connect to love, and you can even just think of someone or something that you love for a moment, close your eyes and take a deep breath in. And just know the more you do these little moments of interactive practice with me, the more you'll get this, the more you'll activate that feminine energy inside. So just take a moment and breathe in. And as you exhale, soften your body. And think of someone or something that you love. And it could even be a heartbreak right now. But think of, if you can, even like an animal, something that's neutral, something that just makes you feel love in your heart. A baby, a cat, a dog. That the feeling of love can be activated in your body. And you just did that. We did it just for a moment. But that feeling of love is a frequency. It's an energy. And when you hold that energy alive in your body on a daily basis, you're emanating that in your field, and you're attracting that into your life. And that energy of love, especially embodied in the divine feminine, is one of the most valuable energies on this planet. And so the elevated woman knows that her value stems from that source of connection. And she's able to bring that out into the world in such a way where not only does she magnetize amazing opportunities into herself. I just moved into my dream living situation, you guys. I'm like on top of a mountain, literally elevated. But it's like, anyway, I'm not going to talk about that right now, but truly magic begins to unfold. So, that being said, One moment. The elevated woman is able to access these different elevated feminine frequencies, as I call it. Love is one of them. Surrender is one of them. Trust, honor, nobility, grace, dignity, softness, receptivity. All of these are these elevated feminine frequencies. These words are holding a live energy. And when you awaken these energies inside of you, you become them. You become these energies in the world. And it's so healing to the masses, and it's actually activating as well. So you can walk into a cafe and people may or may not say something, but if you intend to, if you hold love in your heart, you're doing something to that space. The walls are responding to you, the people are responding to you, and you're quite literally activating and initiating the world around you into these elevated feminine frequencies. And so we all know that there's a lot of contraction in this world. There's a lot of pain and challenge right now. You know, there's a lot of things that are not working for humanity. So it's so incredible to step into this elevated woman archetype in your own life, because you ultimately become a leader and a healer on a small or large scale. And it's just simply in the energy that you're taking responsibility for. Okay, so there's so much to talk about, but I'm just going to, this is just kind of an introduction. It's an initiation call. So this is really to help you awaken this possibility within you, and to know that, you know, this may be a new way of looking at your life. It may be a new way of looking at the feminine energy. It may be a new way of looking at the masculine energy. Okay, one thing I will say, the masterclass series, we have 10 amazing, amazing thought leaders and experts, authors, and teachers. And everyone is, that the trainings that we've put together are truly deep. They're very, very deep. I'm thinking of a few of them in particular. We go really, really deep. And I want to invite you into that depth in your own life, to open to going deeper into yourself in an intimate way. Because if you desire to create deep intimacy with another person, whether it's a current relationship or a future relationship, the level by which you can travel into your depth as a woman essentially determines the level that you can travel with someone else. So we can only experience intimacy at the same level that we've experienced it in ourselves. So this training is truly meant to support you to go to those deeper levels, to carve out the internal field. And this isn't about improving or bettering yourself. Yes, you'll learn some tips and tricks, but it's really about, can you come back to the truth of who you are and clear away any of the obstacles and blockages to seeing who that is. So I'm just going to check in with everyone. And if you'd like to share your intention for being here over the next couple weeks, the official first day, Key 1 with Helena Hart, begins on Thursday. And in that training, we're going into really wealth mastery mindset, which translates into money. It also translates into love and relationship and intimacy. So I'm really excited about that. She's one of my best friends. Okay, yeah, thanks for letting us know. So if you want your, so far it looks like, oh, and attendees. Okay, thank you. So it looks like if you switch at the bottom of your chat, there's a little blue box circle thing, oval, and it says all panelists or all attendees, something like that. If you switch it to all panelists and attendees, everyone can see it. So if you want everyone to see your intention or your comment, then switch it to that. That's a great request. Thank you for saying that. All right, so, someone's saying that my home looks beautiful, warm, and vibrant. Yay, thank you. That's awesome. Okay, so feel free to share your intention, feel free to share your comments, and I'll take moments to pause and address them. I love to make this interactive. Leading live trainings is like one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. So I do a lot of them, and okay. My intention is to transform my marriage and create 10K consistently per month, working 10 to 15 hours per week. I love that, Shauna. That's incredible. Lots of people are saying that they're ready for this. I love that. Thanks, Lisa. Finding and loving my true, authentic self so I can be loved exactly for who I am. My intention is to love me and feel loved just for existing. Love it. Enjoy who I am. Amazing. So, so beautiful. We have 60 people here, you guys. So just know we are touching, and there's so many more people that are also about to watch this on the replay, but this is a big group. You know, this is a lot of Shakti. This is a lot of energy, a lot of divine feminine energy coming together with a powerful intention of unplugging from that toxic masculine paradigm and replugging into your truth, whatever that looks like to you. Tia, to be a juicer, I love that. Sounds health related. My intention is to get back to the Shakti I am, start self-love again. Okay, no worries, see you on the replay. Okay, so I'm gonna have everybody take a deep, deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more. All right, so some of the challenges that, actually I'll talk about that in a moment. One of the things that we work on in this space is slowing down and moving your attention within. Anytime you draw your attention inward, you're actually activating your magnetic field, especially if you draw your attention to the heart. The heart is creating a magnetic field where the mind is creating an electric field. The mind is connected to the masculine, thoughts and reason and logic and strategy, and it's a penetrative force. It's an outward movement of energy, whereas the heart is a magnetic force. It's the feelings, the emotion, the deeper desire that pulls things into the body. A woman's body is shaped in a figure 8, so we're quite literally infinity. In this space, in Elevated Woman, I talk a lot about how we are the access point, especially for men. We are the access point between spirit and matter. I actually have an hourglass. It's my favorite thing. And because within the shape of an hourglass, which is also the shape of a figure 8 or an infinity sign, the sand goes from side to side. You know, it goes back and forth depending on which way you're moving it, which really represents this infinite potential and this material potential. We are on this earth and we've manifested into physical form, but we are that energy still. We're just in a certain form of it. So we as women are shaped in that hourglass. We are the figure 8, we are the infinity, and through our body, even our yoni, our sexual organs are shaped in the figure 8. When a man enters us physically, he's actually tapping in to the portal point. He's tapping into that access point to source energy. So what he's getting access to is your Shakti force, this sexual, creative, feminine force that is warm and fluid and abundant and dynamic and free and constantly changing. It's the womb that's going through changes and going through a cycle. A woman's body is going through a cycle each month and through the seasons. And so there's a movement and dynamic energy that is connected to the feminine. And this is very different than the stable, solid, solidified, steady, direct, focused, masculine force. So I like to say that the masculine energy, if you think of the masculine energy in a ballroom, and there's pillars in the ballroom, maybe there's like 3 big pillars holding up, or just maybe even one big pillar holding up this room. It says pillar is in the center of the room. The pillar is the divine masculine energy. It's this stabilizing force, oftentimes singular, phallic symbols are connected to the masculine, obviously, but the singular one-pointed focus, this energy that is stable and strong and condensed. It's the trunk of a tree. It's the stem of a rose. And this ballroom, or this pillar in the ballroom, is literally holding up the space for the dance and the movement and the love to flow between the people that are inside of that space. So that's the divine feminine. I also like to think of like the walls of a house, the structure, stability, container, box. 4 is connected to the divine masculine. All of these symbols are connected to that great power of the masculine presence. And when you think of yourself on a date with someone that you really like, you might experience that you feel a little bit more free. Maybe you're a little bit more polarized into your divine femininity, and you're in more laughter, you have more laughter and silliness. Maybe I get really silly when I'm around strong masculine presence in my life, because it polarizes me into my deepest feminine. And what that looks like for me is it's quite silly, and it's very random and dynamic and all over the place. Not in a disempowered way, but just like this free and soft way, because I feel like, okay, well, when that force is present, then I can let go. So that's one of the tricks actually to attracting a divine masculine mate into your life, is to really get comfortable, was to really in your own life be able to go deep into that feminine polarity in such a way where you're able to trust and surrender and so deeply that it's truly, oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. I like swoon thinking about the divine masculine. It's so funny. No, I mean, I was at the beach I was just at the beach this weekend, and there was this really beautiful, powerful man that I was just like watching from afar, and he was walking into the waves. And these waves were coming at him, and he didn't budge. It was like his body just stayed so strong and stable, and these waves were like crashing into him, and it wasn't impacting him. The waves were crashing into him, but he was this steady, solidified, solid force. And that's the grace of the divine masculine. That's like what we get to honor in men, is their ability to have that single pointed focus, the simplicity and the intricacy. You know, there's an intricacy in the simplicity of the masculine. But that stabilizing force in our life that really allows us to feel safe. You know, there's a very big difference between walking with a man at night and walking alone at night. You know, I mean, I personally just feel a lot safer, and that's a gift that they bring. Unfortunately, we don't live in a planet that is fully safe yet for the full feminine energy to be completely wild and free, but that's what we're working toward. Anyway, but part of activating that potential on the planet is activating the divine masculine potential in men. And I do a lot of work in this. There's a whole training that I've done on this, but we're not talking about that at this moment. We're just touching on these things. Anyway, I get super into talking about the divine masculine because I love the divine masculine. I think that it's when the elevated woman gets activated in your life, you truly do become an activator and an initiator for this potential on the planet and for this potential in men. Because when you are elevated in these elevated feminine frequencies of softness, nobility, honor, dignity, elegance, surrender, the dynamic energy that's constantly changing and evolving, and you own it, and you feel empowered and proud of that feminine force that you are, that can only activate a man's masculine potential in your present. So I created a quote or poem, I'm not sure what to call it. I'll share it with you that shares this very clearly. Maybe some of you have heard this before, or from another talk that I've done, but the ocean floor is the divine masculine, okay? And the waves, the ocean, is the divine feminine. The ocean floor does not request that the sea warn him when she is about to storm. Actually, I messed it up. Let's start over. The ocean floor does not request that the ocean warn him when sea is about to storm. He is ready to handle whatever arises within her wild form. So one of the collective wounds that we carry as women is this shame around our emotion. And there's reason for that, because our emotion, the feeling force in all of humanity has been suppressed and locked down. So of course it's going to come up, and we won't know what to do with it. We feel shame around it. One of my teachers, my main teacher, Shannon Port, said in one of her talks that one of the most healing things for a woman to experience is when she's in an emotional moment of like kind of the wild, crazy, raging, out of control emotion. For a man in her presence to basically stand there or sit there in that space with her, and in his energy and in his presence say to her, and maybe even verbally say to her, I am not going anywhere. I am staying right here. No matter what you need to do, no matter what you need to express, I am staying right here. And what this does, and this is awakening in your life right now just by hearing it, what this does is it heals the collective programming and wound of this part of me as a woman is not, it's not okay. It's not allowed. It's something I need to be ashamed of because, it's been suppressed, it's been pushed down all around me. So obviously there's something wrong with this part of me that feels strong emotion. Maybe you identify with being a powerfully strong emoter. I definitely do. I was definitely the most emotional person in my family. And I definitely grew up with shame around that because it wasn't something that I can control. I couldn't control the tears that would come up or the sensitivity that I had. But as I've gone on this healing path at such a deep level, we get to recognize that level of emotion, that level of being connected to feeling, is such an incredible aspect of our power as women, and it ultimately sets the whole world free. So for as long as we're feeling ashamed of it, we will be not in our full power. So part of the difference between submission and surrender training that I'm doing in a few weeks, it's going to actually be a disempowerment detox. And I'm so excited. I've never done this specific training before, and I'm obsessed with this topic. If you haven't followed me on Facebook, you can follow Anya Grace, A-N-Y-A Grace, G-R-A-C-E. And just a few posts ago, I did a huge post on the difference between submission and surrender, and it's really potent. So I recommend you go read that if you've just joined this community and didn't get any information about that yet. But I'm doing a whole training on it, and we're going to go through a detox process. And one of the things that we will be detoxing from is the collective feminine wound of feeling shame over our emotions. Because for as long as we're feeling shame over our emotions, part of our power is being drained from us. We're not owning a deep part of our power as women. So important. It's so big. Oh my gosh, I'm just obsessed with this stuff. I love it. So thanks for being here, everyone. Again, I don't take hands right now in this type of training. If you do a deeper, more intimate training with me, we do one-on-one work where you can come on and actually speak. But since there's so many people, if you have a question, just put it in the chat. Okay. So somebody requested that where did it go? There we go. Somebody requested that I say that someone was saying the energy of I'm not going anywhere is the emotion in the face of emotion is a sign of somebody being emotionally available. They are available to not only share their own emotions, but also hold space for and witness yours as well. Yes, and the word witness is one of the divine masculine energies, that higher witness power, that higher reason. It's the king on his throne, who is the king on his throne, who ultimately is connected to his queen, who's sitting next to him, who's connecting to the divine. So another metaphor that I use is kings and queens ultimately have the crowns, right? And I forget what they're called. They have those little spokey things. And to me, that represents, they are positioned as leaders on these thrones, elevated. But the elevation is not, I'm better than these people. The elevation is, I get to be a bridge between spirit and earth. I get to be a bridge between the spiritual plane and the earthly plane, the physical plane. And I get to be in communication, communion, and connection through those little crowns. We get to be in connection to the wisdom, the highest wisdom. And in so many of the, Princess Disney fairy tales that we've all grown up with, whether it's Disney or otherwise, there's like a dark king and a light king often. And the light king is connected to I've never said this before, the light king represents the divine masculine. The dark king represents the toxic masculine paradigm that we're living in, which is, I want power at the expense of everybody else. So a man in his true power and a woman in her true power are ultimately truly intending to communicate with the highest levels of truth, love, and wisdom, and to lead from that place. So I've definitely gone into it. One moment. Somebody just said the "I'm not going anywhere" quote. Wow, if we could even say that to ourselves, how powerful that is from our masculine selves. We are telling ourselves that even without a man, we can never abandon ourselves and will always be that stand for our beautiful feminine. Yeah. So there's a training in this masterclass series that Mark Rosenfeld does, who's a big dating and relationship coach in Australia. He's one of my friends. And it's all about activating the masculine energy in your own life. And he leads this beautiful exercise, like just stunning. He actually did it for me in person. And then I asked him to do it on this training because it changed my life so much. It was just so beautiful. Because I was talking to him about how I just want to be more in surrender. I want to be deeper in surrender. Like, I was having a massage a couple months ago, and the guy was massaging my arm, and I just started like crying. And I realized in that moment, the emotion was coming up because I'd been holding on so tight in life. I was like wanting to control everything. And subtly, I'm very good at surrender. I've worked on that in my life. But I had this experience in this healing work that I realized that I wanted to let go of control even more. And that my physical tension was really my subconscious not feeling like it could trust. And I was telling Mark about this, and he was like, well, like, let's activate more of your divine masculine, or he didn't say that. He did not use the word divine masculine, I did. But that's what it is. Like, let's activate that energy in yourself, and that will help you get more into that feminine. And I've never done it in this way that he led it. It's so beautiful. So actually, I think his is key 3. It's key 3. And I took the part of the training where he's leading the meditation, and I put it to music so that you guys can actually access it and do it again and again. And it's more of a meditation. It's really beautiful. So that's perfect for exactly what you're saying. And that's actually one of the tricks to attract divine masculinity in a man and partner into your life. So, oh my gosh, Taslim. I'm not sure if I said that right. That's okay. My name is Taslim. It means surrender. I wrote to Helena telling her that I say that I'm always trying to live up to my name. Oh my goodness, Taslim. Beautiful. That is incredible. Surrender is the core teaching of my whole life. And it's really the core. If we just drop everything in Elevated Woman, I'm teaching people surrender. So that's what the space is all about. So beautiful. Yeah, love it, love it, love it. So I'm not going to read all the comments for the sake of time, but I really encourage everyone to go in here and to engage and for this time that we're in here. I'm not going to ask if we have time at the end, I'll answer questions, but I don't think that we have time right now. Oh, I'm not going anywhere. That part almost brought me to tears. That's my dream. Yeah, you guys. So there's also I've done feminine activation trainings, and those are on the website. But in those feminine activation trainings, we are, and I might be doing a whole nother series of them live, I'm not sure. But the feminine activation trainings specifically are about awakening through feeling and emotion and visualization, the masculine energy in your body. And through that, it's all about, so the tears that you are experiencing are because this is your truth. If something is creating an expansive experience for you, or it's just resonating as true, it makes you feel relaxed, it makes you cry, these are all signs that that's pointing you in the direction of your alignment. And if something feels true to you, if something feels expansive to you or relieving to you, that's your truth. And I'm not sure what the full name is, but you're meant to experience that. If that's your dream, it's truly meant for you. And in this space, we're really, my intention is to support you to awaken to that. And we are right now, you know, so just by knowing that is exactly what you're meant to experience. And then the work is then to start to remove the belief systems that are blocking you from that truth on a daily basis. It's totally going to come. And now you're unavailable for anything but that, right? That's another key. You're unavailable for anything but that. So I've never heard masculine energy described that way. I know more what to pay attention to. Okay, yes. So I will repeat the ocean quote. One of the things I wanted to say is if you go back and listen to the replay of this, and even just go to the part where I'm listing out some of the divine masculine energy words, you write those down. When you can start to become aware of the divine masculine in your life and in the people around you, especially men, it's probably, to me, one of the most powerful ways to be in your power as a woman is to actually honor the masculine power in men, because you don't need to compete with it. You don't need to get angry at it. You know, we have our wounds. We get to heal and grieve and express and emote anger and frustration and sadness. That's a deep part of this work as well. But we do that in a responsible way and when it's appropriate. And then all the other time, we're ultimately truly honoring and acknowledging the divine masculine presence in men. This is such a big part of what we stand for in the Elevated Woman movement, is that we need men. We really do. We want men. You guys are all here because you want love, right? So if you have any part of you that resists or is angry at men, I'm angry at the toxic masculine paradigm. I'm not okay with it. But that's not men. And we get to highlight and acknowledge the deepest power of the divine masculine in our lives. And it's such a beautiful thing to do. So I will repeat the ocean quote. I'm going to talk about a few things that I see a lot of women get challenged with, and then it will awaken Shakti Force. We might go a little bit over the hour, so hopefully no more than 5 minutes. I just get so into it, you guys. It's so hard for me. So one moment. All right. Somebody's saying that she realizes that most men she has known are operating their false masculine, and to experience a divine masculine man feels like the search for a mythical animal. It's a sad thought. I don't know where this reflects just my own situation or if it reflects how the world is. I definitely had that thought for a long time, but it's definitely completely different now. And I actually would radically say that most women are operating in their false feminine as well. And that's what the whole difference between submission and surrender is all about. You can go read that post on my Facebook. or ask me about it and I'll send it to you. And it's shocking, you know, it's meant to be jarring because it's a lot of the ways that I struggle to step out of a submissive energy and into the surrender energy on a daily basis. So some of the signs of a woman in submission are, for example, she follows rigid, she feels the need to improve herself. We already talked about that. She feels the need to improve herself. She follows rigid diet routines. She follows rigid exercise routines. It goes beyond creating health. It's like, anyway, I'm just gonna say it. Yeah, follows rigid diet routines, follows rigid exercise routines, competes with other women, feels jealous toward other women, even competes with other men. Often, feels drained all the time, feels really tired all the time for no reason. So there's a lot. I wish I had the notes with me right now. I'm not going to pull them up. There's a lot of things that we are plugged into, and to me, it's a brainwashing. We've been so brainwashed into being plugged into this mass media, this mass culture that's actually truly draining the Shakti Force from within us. So I personally think that the majority of women are operating in their false feminine, and that it takes a lot of intention, effort, and choice to unplug from that and plug into the empowered, elevated feminine. That's what this whole movement is all about. So yes, it may seem like there's not that many men who are operating their divine masculine, but if you truly take full-on responsibility for your divine feminine, and I mean, I do this on a daily basis, I still struggle to step out of that submissive energy and into the surrendered energy. If you know, I think it's ultimately, and I'm not saying you're not there, I'm just saying that we all have another level to go to. My favorite question to ask in the world is, universe, what question do I not even know I need to ask? Like, what question can I ask that I don't even know I need to ask? Because this is a thing I have against, like, okay, reel it in. This is the feminine energy. The feminine energy is all over the place, and we get to own that and embrace that, and I own it. My trainings are often like all over the place, but it just goes where it's meant to be, and I trust that. So I studied neuroscience, and I love science, and I was in the science spirituality field for a long time. I taught yoga in schools. I was working with Stanford for a research study that they were doing on mindfulness in public schools. It was really powerful and amazing. And if we are only believing something because it's scientifically proven, we are limiting our potential. We are capping what's possible. There's so much in this world that we can't explain. And yes, science is catching up to spirituality, in my opinion. But if we're just to limit ourselves, like, that's why I love the science world, but I have very little tolerance for someone who isn't open to diving into these more spiritual philosophies just because it's not scientifically backed up. To me, that's the most masculine mindset to have. That's limiting and capping our potential. If we're saying right now that if it's not scientifically proven, it's not real, then we're literally putting ourselves in a box. There's so much that we can't prove. So the feminine is all about opening to that mystical, magical, higher possibility. So I know that a lot of you, I know that the women that are here you've done work on yourself. I know that. And I know that there's likely a chance that that work that you've done on yourself has been driven from a slightly miss of perhaps self-improvement, or perhaps I'm not good enough, I need to, and I was there too, I am there too often, but it's on a daily basis coming back to the truth, which is I am divine energy. I am pure energy. And this energy is so powerful and pure and loving and honest. And this is my value in the world. Okay, so Okay. So yeah, I could use different word than toxic masculinity. We could say fallen masculinity. It is good though. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I appreciate your point. And I don't think that it's mainstream propaganda language when we're talking about, and I'm not talking about toxic masculinity in just Western society. I'm talking about on a world stage. This is not just Western society. So anyway, but I appreciate your point. So let me go back to where I was at. Okay, somebody wants to go back to these comments really quick. I realized recently that most men I have known or know, okay, yes, we said that. That's a reaction. Yeah, so toxic masculinity to me is just a paradigm. It's not a man, it's not an individual, it's a paradigm, and we're all part of it. We all contribute to it. We as women contribute to it. And so I use sometimes strong language because I want to disrupt. I want to activate. I'm open to disrupting and activating, because the more disruptive we are, the more we're pulling against the status quo, actually, the more energy we receive from the universe, because the universe wants to expand through us. And when we open to this higher, this is what we were saying. So I'm here to activate. My intention in being here is for anyone who's willing to let us all rise to an even higher level, to an even more elevated level that you and I don't even know possible yet. That's what this movement is all about. That is what this movement is all about, to open to the infinite possibilities, the quantum reality that's available to us, and that people will start to be speaking about. Promise you, people will start to be speaking about quantum in the next 5 years like crazy. And if we start to ask those questions in our own life, we truly will be receiving the answers and the activations and the energies now. So, all right. All right, so I'm going to thank you everyone for being there with me. I can't wait to see the other trainings. You're getting me so pumped up about what I can learn, not to improve, but just to appreciate what's already inside. I do operate from a very masculine place. Tired for no reason, being competitive, I'm a teacher, it's always a struggle to survive. A career built around lots of women trying to make it in their masculine every day. I want to go into this year in my divine feminine and see how I am different as a teacher. That's amazing. I love it so much. Yeah, a lot of women are resistant to this, honestly, because it requests that we unplug from what has made us feel safe, and there's certain aspects of being in that masculine energy that we have adopted so deeply that it feels safe. I had 2 clients this past week that were, when they felt their ground crumble under them when they finally got this at this deep, deep spiritual cellular level. And it's intense to release that paradigm. It's so intense to release that paradigm. Okay. I do real estate for 10 hours a day, mostly my masculine. How do I unplug and yet make my living? All right, so that's a great question. And this whole, being in this community will answer that. I'm not gonna go into it right now because it's pretty deep. Okay. All right. So, okie dokie. Let's see. We're going to go into the activation. And The activation is a interactive exercise. It'll be a meditation and a visualization. We'll go 15 minutes over probably. And I might actually turn off this recording. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. Turn off this recording, and then we'll come back and we'll do a separate recording. You don't have to do anything. But that recording will hold the exercise. And this is the signature Elevated Woman Shakti activation. So this exercise is really, really powerful to awaken that divine feminine energy within. And my intention is always to help you understand this at a cellular, energetic level. Because when you understand it and awaken it at that level, you own it. And no one can ever take it away from you. All right? So